Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're plunging into a book that has, well, truly ignited a spark for millions. Jen Sincero's You Are a Badass. You know, how to stop doubting your greatness and start living an awesome life.
Yeah, it's a big one.
It is. And our mission here is really to extract the most potent, maybe game-changing insights from her work. Sort of offer you a shortcut to grasping her message without, reading every single page.
And it's interesting because Sincero really shakes up the usual self-help vibe.
Mm-hmm.
She's very direct, often hilariously blunt, actually.
Yeah.
She injects humor into concepts that, for a lot of people, could feel pretty daunting.
Right, or abstract.
Exactly. And her goal isn't just that you understand what to do, but you really get why it matters. So she provides this, practical, no-excuses roadmap for real personal transformation.
Absolutely. And what I find compelling is that it's not about chasing some kind of, perfection.
No, not at all.
As Sincero shares from her own story, it's about making a fundamental and often kind of messy shift in how you see yourself in the world. So let's unpack what it actually means to become a badass, according to her. She kicks off the book with a feeling that's probably hit a lot of us at some point, that really relatable struggle of feeling unimpressed with life.
Oh, yeah.
Even if, on the surface, everything seems fine. She describes being caught in low-level minutia, maybe stuck in that rickety-ass apartment eating dollar tacos.
Yeah.
And just knowing deep down you're capable of more. But she emphasizes early on, it's not about suddenly needing to make millions or solve world hunger.
Right.
It's about getting mighty clear about what makes you happy and what makes you feel the most alive. That's the core.
That sense of, underlying dissatisfaction is so common, and Sincero really drills down on what to actually do about it.
Okay.
What's truly foundational, I think, is her insistence on this one simple but really powerful shift, moving from wanting to change your life to deciding to change your life.
Wanting versus deciding.
Yeah, and she clearly differentiates them, often with that signature bluntness. Wanting can be done sitting on the couch with a bong in your hand.
Right.
Deciding means jumping in all the way, doing whatever it takes. So it's not passive hope, it's active commitment.
Gotcha.
It means pushing past your fears, embracing failure even, and letting go of those old, comfortable, but really limiting beliefs. Because, as she puts it, with real conviction, your life does depend on it.
It's that pivotal moment, isn't it? That Anna Snin quote, "The risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom."
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That feeling when staying put just becomes genuinely unbearable, that's often the most powerful catalyst for real change.
Yeah, when the status quo hurts more than the fear of the unknown.
Yeah. So once Sincero kind of ignites that spark of decision, she then peels back the layers to expose the invisible saboteurs.
Oh, yes.
Those deep beliefs that often work against what we consciously want, holding us back without us even realizing it. She argues often it's our subconscious made me do it.
Right. We think we're in control.
But we're not fully.
Exactly. And this raises such a huge question. How profoundly are we really influenced by beliefs drilled into us since childhood? By parents, culture, society.
Plus, things like money doesn't grow on trees.
Or you're not good enough, or who do you think you are? These aren't just harmless sayings, according to Sincero.
Okay.
She argues they embed themselves really deeply, and then they manifest in our adult lives. They create this constant conflict between what we say we want and what we actually, create or experience.
Mm-hmm.
She uses that really vivid analogy of the dead skunk under the house.
Right, I remember that.
We try to fix the stink on the porch, with air fresheners.
Yeah.
But until we actually remove the underlying problem, the issues just keep persisting.
So awareness is the first step.
Crucial. Just cultivating an acute awareness of these deep, often hidden beliefs. That's key number one.
And then, often tied into those beliefs, she introduces another kind of internal adversary, what she calls the big snooze.
Or BS.
Yeah. Which she identifies as the ego, that sort of false self that feels like it's driving the bus when we're actually sabotaging ourselves.
Yeah. The big snooze, as she describes it, is fear-based and extremely committed to keeping you safely confined within your comfort zone.
Safe, but small.
Exactly. It thrives on external validation, whispering things like, your opinion of me is more important than my opinion of me.
Oof, yeah.
And what's so fascinating, and sometimes kind of jarring, is how she shows its power. When you genuinely decide to make massive positive changes, the BS will often create actual real-world chaos to try and stop you.
Really? What?
Well, she shares stories, her own and others, of people suddenly getting flat tires or being hit by a freaking bus or having their recording studio burned to the ground right when they're on the edge of a breakthrough. She says famously, life often turns to shit before it turns to Shinola.
Uh-huh. Right.
And her point is, this isn't just random bad luck. It's the big snooze's desperate last stand to keep you from growing. Like a detox reaction.
A detox. That's a good way to put it. So recognizing that is important so you don't just give up.
Absolutely crucial. Don't give up when it gets tough. That's often a sign you're close.
Okay, so it's easy to get bogged down in what holds us back. But Sincero pivots nicely from obstacles to, well, what actually propels us forward, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the big snooze is holding us back, what's the engine for change? She gets into what she calls the G word.
Ah, yes, the G word. God. Source energy, the universe.
Whatever term resonates. She stresses it's about developing a personal relationship with this, like, limitless power within and around you. The label isn't the important part.
And what's really illuminating here is how she connects this source energy to the law of attraction.
Okay.
Vibration attracts like vibration. Her insight is, if you're vibrating low, feeling pessimistic, needy, like a victim, full of shame, you'll just attract more low-frequency experiences.
So you need to change your frequency.
Exactly. Consciously raise your frequency to match the vibration of what you actually want. Like tuning a radio, you need the right station for slow jams, not NPR. That's what you're after.
Got it.
But, and this is key, Sincero is adamant. It's not just passive thinking or wishing. It's about energy and action working in unison.
Action.
Yes. You can't just sit back. You have to take what she calls hell-bent for glory kind of action. Focused, determined, inspired movement.
Hell-bent for glory. I like that. And this energetic alignment, it leads straight to what she calls the holy grail of happiness.
Self-love.
Yes, self-love. And for her, it's not some fluffy concept. It's like the fundamental bedrock for everything else.
Oh, really?
She challenges us to really appreciate that deep truth. You are the only you there is, and you are the only you that ever will be.
And she gives really practical, tangible ways to actually cultivate this. It's not just abstract.
Like what?
She suggests you drown yourself in affirmations. Things like, I am brilliant, bright, and beautiful. But it's more than just saying words. It's feeling them. She urges you to consciously do things you love. Really prioritize your joy, even if it feels a bit selfish.
That can be hard for people.
Oh, yeah. And crucially, actively replace negative self-talk. And she says, ditch the self-deprecating humor.
Oh, interesting. Why?
Because, as she puts it so powerfully, our thoughts become our words become our beliefs become our actions become our habits, and our habits become our reality.
That's a whole feedback loop.
A complete loop.
Right.
And maybe most importantly, she emphasizes forgiving yourself. Because guilt, shame, and self-criticism are some of the most destructive forces. They just keep you stuck vibrating low.
Okay, so we've identified roadblocks, connected to source energy, worked on self-love. What does this mean for actually living life differently? How do we translate this into results?
Right, the practical application.
Sincero really drills down on finding your unique purpose, which she insists is meant to be given.
Given? How so?
Meaning, it's not just for you, it's something you share with the world. But she also says it's not necessarily about waiting for some thunderbolt hype moment of clarity.
Okay, good. Because that rarely happens.
Right. Often it's just about taking the first right step and learning to really trust your intuition, your gut feeling.
And she encourages having a beginner's mind, which I think is so liberating.
How does she illustrate that?
She shares her story about her band, Crotch.
Great name.
Where she says they had no idea what the hell we were doing, but they just learned to see what you can get away with.
Love that.
This idiotic yet awesome disregard for what-ifs, as she calls it, is key to breaking free from perfectionism and that fear of failure. Just experiment.
Yeah, stop overthinking.
And she also talks about losing track of time by doing things that put you in the vortex.
The vortex, like flow state.
Exactly, that flow state. And her insight here is powerful. These activities where you're so absorbed, hours fly by, aren't just hobbies. They are often the direct path to discovering and living your true purpose.
Because that's where your natural energy and joy lie.
Precisely. It reveals your authentic self.
And it's not just abstract stuff either. She goes right at the topic of money, which for many people is super loaded.
Oh, yeah.
Sincero states it flat out. Money is currency, and currency is energy.
And she doesn't just say it. She tackles that whole poverty-proud mentality head on.
What does she mean by poverty proud?
That mindset where people almost take pride in not having money, seeing it as more spiritual or noble, she argues that's just as limiting as any other belief.
Interesting.
She insists that having money is a responsibility, and it's a tool for betterment for yourself and the world. Her core message is that your relationship with money, your beliefs, feelings, your frequency around it, is as crucial, maybe more crucial, than your actions.
So it's about the inner game of money.
Totally. She offers rules of wealth consciousness, like always coming from abundance, not lack, actively raising your frequency to match the income you want, and staying in shape by reading wealth consciousness books daily.
Staying in shape mentally, you mean?
Exactly. Keep that mindset strong. And she tells that story about buying a new car before she had the money.
Whoa, that takes guts.
Right, forcing herself to manifest it. And she says it resulted in her tripling her income.
Wow.
Which really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How much of our financial reality is actually dictated by our hidden, limiting beliefs about money, rather than our actual effort or capability?
Yeah, that's a challenging thought. It challenges our whole perception. Okay, so the journey to being a badass, as she describes it, it's not always smooth sailing, is it?
Definitely not.
Fear is going to creep back in. She acknowledges that. She shares that really powerful story about being in a cave.
Oh yeah, the cave story.
Feeling totally overwhelmed by darkness and realizing fear was the only thing I could see in that hole. But in that moment, she had this clarity. The choice was hers, to fear or not to fear.
And she doesn't suggest fear just vanishes, but she offers ways to navigate it.
Like what?
Well, one technique is flipping the fear, using the fear of not doing something, the fear of regret, to fuel action instead.
Use fear against itself.
Kinda, yeah. And crucially, being in the moment to stop anxiety about the future, which is where most fear lives anyway. Ultimately, it's about cultivating faith that's greater than your fear.
Faith over fear.
Which leads perfectly into the idea of surrender, which, for Sincero, isn't giving up. It's about allowing instead of forcing.
Allowing instead of forcing.
She uses that great metaphor of the butterfly that only lands on your nose when you stop chasing it frantically.
Right.
It's about releasing that tight kung fu grip on control and trusting the universe, trusting yourself to guide things. It's a release.
Letting go.
Okay.
And finally, she makes it really clear that all this great insight only sticks if we make it part of our daily lives, right? Through practice.
Absolutely. Habits. She drives home that simple truth. Successful people have good habits. Unsuccessful people have losery habits.
Losery habits. Classic Sincero.
Exactly. And it's a continuous process, not like a one-and-done thing. She says, you break through at one level, arrive at the next, and take another step up.
So how do you keep stepping up?
She advises intentionally building new supportive habits, actively using breathing techniques to stay connected to that source energy, consciously surrounding yourself with high-frequency supportive people.
Where environment matters?
Hugely. Setting honest goals, ones that stretch you just slightly outside your comfort zone, and really importantly, getting help. Coaching, mentorship, whatever support works.
Don't go it alone.
Right. The whole book really hammers home her belief that the mind and the body are way more powerful together than either one is alone. It's about integrating it all. Beliefs, energy, action.
So this deep dive into You're a Badass, it really reveals a super empowering truth, doesn't it? That our current reality, the challenges, the joys, it's largely a product of our perceptions, our beliefs. And crucially, we hold the power to change it, fundamentally change it.
It really is an invitation to not deny yourself the life you want to live because you're worried you're not good enough or that you'll be judged or that it's too risky. The book is just this bold, unapologetic call to action, urging you to believe, like deep down in your bones, that you are powerful, you are loved, you are surrounded by miracles.
It's quite a message, which leaves us with a pretty provocative thought, I think. If you really are a badass, truly capable of manifesting the reality you desire, what audacious why not dream, one that maybe feels impossible right now, are you going to commit to turning into that hell-bent for glory kind of action starting today?